What's up guys, this is Miniman2312 with another Planetside 2 video, and today we're looking at the map and spawn system. So once again, as in the last video, we have our chat box, our logout, settings and support. It doesn't have a deployment button because this is the deployment screen. So we'll start off again. So over here we have the help button, which just shows some help that you can get. Next to that is the different continents you can get to. So currently there's an alert on Izmir, it's the alert, territory control, Amarish, and as you can see that shows the Terran Republic's flag next to it. So that means it's currently controlled by the Terran Republic. We'll go back to Indar. So on the left we have deployment options. So squad spawns are where your platoon leader or squad leader are at, and my platoon leader is at a training facility for some reason. Standard spawns, so we've got West Highlands Checkpoint, Quartz Camp, Paris, the Western Warp Gates, the Continent Warp Gates, and reinforcements needed. That's one of the squad leader options, and it highlights where your squad or where players should be at. Underneath that is spawn as, so you can select your class you want to spawn as and change the loadout. You can also customize your loadout. You can also deploy, squad deploy, which is deploying next to your squad leader. Deploying is pretty much just takes you to the site that's selected. Underneath deploy it says where you're going to be, where it's selected to go at. Instant action drops you into a random area, and that's pretty much all for the left of the map. On the right side we have statistics, so we can find out how much territory is being controlled by each faction, the population of the entire world, not the Earth world but Araxis, Indar population, so how many people are on each faction in Indar. Underneath that there's filters, so I'll turn all the filters off. Turn off, turn off, turn off, turn off. And also we can turn off our resource flow, so now we only have the spawn points. So of course we have to turn the terrain back on, so that shows where all the amp stations, pretty much what it says. Facilities, we can turn that on so we know where everything is now. We can turn on facility connections, which starts the lattice. Territory control, which shows which part of the map is controlled by each empire. Hotspots, the little explosions you can see around the place, show where fighting is going on. Influence cloud, so that's just an interesting color that shows how much people are in each zone. And the grid. You can also turn on heat maps, so ally activity, enemy activity, ally and enemy activity. So these show where your allies and enemies are mainly based. So as you can see, there's people around here, NC, Vanu around here. That's all. There's no WDS defend points and WDS capture points because that's not on anymore, and I usually don't have that on. Resources is like we saw last week, with where you can turn on the resources and the resource flow. These just show you how much resources you get, extra resources you get from being in that region. So the northern side is mostly infantry and aerospace around this area, around the amp station. Biolabs usually have infantry resource points around them. Tech plants usually have mechanized resource points around them. that's all for that bit. You can also find the legend, so it shows your location, squad member, all this stuff. SC offlines. We can search for places, so we can search for Zervin and Zervin amp station, and zooms on it. Network complex, pump station, storage yard. We can exit out of the search. Underneath that, we've got our map buttons. Center on me. Go up and down. I didn't know why I'm there. I'm dead. We've also got our scroll in and scroll out. You can do that with your scroll wheel, or you can also move around with your click. So underneath that, if we have our mouse over a region, it shows the region name, how many resources you get from in that region, how long that region has been held for, the enemies in that region, the allies in that region, the population shown on a pie chart, and the connected benefits. So if you have this base, you can also have turret heat reduction, biolab regeneration, main plant, battle tank acquisition. So it's a pretty good one to have. But this one doesn't have biolab connection because we're not connected to any biolabs. So as you can see, we've taken Havar, and that is now a spawn place that we can spawn at. So I'm gonna spawn in now, and as a engineer, and we'll go through. So I've clicked on deploy, and now we go to a loading screen. So now we just have to wait for it to work. Got this, it's loading. Dark light flashlights will illuminate enemy cloaked infiltrators, but not your own, because nobody likes friendly infiltrators, because they infiltrate your own home, and they're thieves and they steal from your own team, and they could be double agents. And don't worry about that, because that was just mindless chatter. So as you can see on the bottom left, we have the mini map, and it shows pretty much a map in mini scale. Probably that's because why it's called a mini map. So we can actually set waypoints on the mini map by pressing Alt and right clicking on the mini map and set personal waypoint. Press Alt again to put it back, your mouse back. You can also press H to enlarge your minimap. You can also press the weird brackets next to P to zoom and zoom out of your map. And these are default keys.